The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
構成藤田 Listening Keeping Strong Style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, keeping it strong style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, keeping it strong style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ASA podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll review the first 2 nights of the road to Wrestling Dontaku and cover all this news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice, and leave a rating and review. You can also get all the network's podcasts and newsletter over at socialsuplex.com. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. And a reminder, the live video is now a part of the $5 tier. So you can get on the show every week, watch us recording live. You'll get the video replayed as well. Ad-free audio all over at patreon.com/KI Strong Style, along with Josh's Tanahashi Ace of the Universe series. Got the first 2 episodes of my Dominion Deep Dive series from last year up there as well. So some stuff there for you to check out on our Patreon.
Yeah, we would love for you guys to check it out. Jeremy, as you can see, I am still in my humble abode, but I'm in the less humble quarters of the home, as you can see here.
Yeah, I was like, when you popped on, I was like, where are you recording at?
Yeah, so my wife has gone to New York to go spend some time with her grandmother, kind of take care of some stuff. And that basically means I could do whatever the fuck I want when she's not around, because now I'm the big boss of the house. So
you're the big dog.
Yeah, so I'm able to record here in much more suitable aesthetics, better lighting, not in the dog's room. So that's really good. And, when I'm done here, I'm going to probably just order whatever terrible junk food I want. I might get myself a pizza, probably stuffed crust, late at night when we're totally done.
Will you get it off of DoorDash?
No. I got to tell you, I am one that is more, I am more privy or prone to order off of Uber Eats. But Jeremy, we did get a very interesting message. Since you want to shoot partner, why don't you let the people know what has happened this week?
Yeah, so as people know, we host our show on Red Circle, and a part of their whole deal, they try to connect you with advertisers that might fit your show, and every once in a while we'll get a notification coming in saying, this brand is interested in potentially advertising on your show, yada, yada, yada. Are you interested? Are you not interested? Sometimes they kind of make you fill out a whole form thing. Well, yesterday I get the message from Red Circle, and it's like, WWE and DoorDash are interested in partnering with the Social Suplex Podcast Network. And so, yeah, I guess the Fed, they're doing a big campaign going into Money in the Bank and SummerSlam with this big partnership with DoorDash. And I guess they're trying to reach wrestling fans to advertise the DoorDash deals so you can watch pay-per-views and order DoorDash.
Yeah, so Jeremy, being the fearless leader that he is, he jumps into the group chat that we as hosts and contributors to the network have to discuss some business, and he shares with everybody what was relayed to him. And it's met with a bunch of laughing face emojis, crying face emojis, and people basically, the entire network just shitting on the idea. And Jeremy, this is what happens when we outsource and bring in a bunch of Europeans and Australians and socialists, essentially, but they don't understand. We're in America, dog. This is a capitalistic, money-tistic society, dog. Like, so they're all money-tistic. So they're all making jokes and being like, haha, that's great. And then me and Rich are like, what's the offer? Like, how much are they willing? Because even though I normally order off Uber Eats, and I try to cut down on that, but like, I did just use DoorDash the other day. We got a $20 gift card. Used that. I still end up paying an additional $18 on top of the $20 gift card because it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
And all the years and time that I've spent watching WWE, I mean, bro, this WrestleMania this past weekend, like, granted, the good news for me is that I get the ESPN app as a fixed part of the package of my cable. Otherwise, I would never probably watch it. But, my wife, it's tradition. It's WrestleMania time. Like, she's going to want to watch WrestleMania. She's going to want to watch the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Terrible fucking shows. I'm never going to get that time back. But if you're telling me that if I read a couple words on the air, I might get paid some money, bro. One Nation Radio has been saying for years,
we can't wait to sell out.
Yeah. Tim from the Joshing Around podcast, he's like, I think that Rich and James recently like set the number at 10K. So, if they're willing to pay 10K, I guess that's good enough. And I'm like, no, that was a number that was thrown out. That's not the firm number. Let's find out
what the deal is.
Right. And anybody that's listening, we don't fucking rock with that shit, but we're about making that money. So
money,
if you hear Trish and Sarah, doing a rundown of the sex allegations against Vince McMahon and, Brock Lesnar, and then suddenly break into, well, quick word from our sponsors. This show is brought to you by DoorDash, the food that fuels the superstars of the WWE. Things such as Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and one RKO Randy K. Orton. Like shit like that. Like, just know we're making money. That's what it's about. Like, and we're not actually endorsing them. We're just trying to get paid the money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, our match of the month segment brought to you by WWE and DoorDash.
How I knew they weren't fucking about it was like when I started posting memes where I put like, let's field the offer, and I put, what would Tony Khan do? Nobody laughed about that shit. And I put the funny thing from when Tony Montana's having that conversation with the dude, and like the music's playing in the background, and all the money's like flapping, and I'm like, Jeremy on the phone with Nick Khan right now, with Chris LeGentle activity and shit.
Yeah, so Nick Khan gets the job done.
But all of that to say, that's probably not going to happen. But Jeremy did hit yes. Are you interested? And Jeremy did hit yes.
I'm curious to see what the offer is going to be. I mean, I could always decline it if they come back saying yes.
Cheese board.
We got you nosebleed tickets to the next premium live event.
We actually bought the entire network tickets to Saudi Mania, so
we want your network to do live coverage.
Oh man, I felt like with me and Rich being like, well, hold up, let's hear the offer, and the rest of everybody being like, absolutely fucking not. I felt like Paul Heyman at What was the first pay-per-view they did in 1997?
Oh, was that Barely Legal?
Yeah, I felt like we are basically like Paul Heyman at Barely Legal, just rallying the troops and creating this us versus them mentality and getting all these people to believe in our shit. Little do they know in 2001 when WWE comes calling, you're about to find us at that fucking desk sitting next to JR being like, WrestleMania 17, 2 weeks away.
Oh,
never mind that Tommy Dreamer didn't get paid. Never mind that Sandman is owed a check.
Forget about Raven.
Forget about Rhino, the double champion. New York called me. I got to go work Capitol. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But like you mentioned, it was WrestleMania weekend / week. We had a question from Les Commission 7252. What did you guys watch for Mania weekend? I enjoyed the GCW Bloodsport, CMLL, and Stardom shows.
I didn't watch much, to be honest with you. I looked at the rundown. Obviously, we went through a few matches. I watched some of the New Japan adjacent stuff just to kind of say I did it. But there wasn't very much that piqued my interest. The one show, even though I think a lot of those DVD, VR, fucking, pro wrestling only freaks are crazy at this point, they do love them some action wrestling. And I've heard that the action show is really good. It hadn't made tape by the time until just like, I think it just came out. So I haven't checked that out. I'd like to see some Mad Dog Connolly action, but
yeah,
most of the weekend looked pretty terrible to me. And then, I was kind of cherry picking and I was looking at the cage match scores and the live reviews. And I was like, boy, like this does not only did it not look like a WrestleMania weekend, the reviews basically screamed, this is not your 2015, 2016, 2017, like WrestleMania weekend. Like this is some other shit.
It's different.
It's different. I did watch I watched all of Bloodsport. I watched all of the Death Vegas Invitational. Those were basically bared out by most reviewers to be like two of the best, not the very best shows, but amongst the best shows of the weekend. I think the CMLL one was received really well, like you mentioned. And, I think people that were in the know liked the action show, but bro, I wasn't impressed whatsoever. I was GSP walking into the ring to confront Matt Hughes, be like, I was not impressed by your
performance.
I was not impressed by your performance. Yeah, I thought it was pretty lackluster. So, I mean, that's the stuff that I saw. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about it. Did you find any time to catch anything? Of course, I did see both nights of WrestleMania.
So here's what I watched WrestleMania week. I watched AEW Dynamite. I watched AEW Collision. I watched Road to Wrestling Dontaku Night 1. Road to Wrestling Dontaku Night 2.
Oh, were we supposed to watch those? We're supposed to watch the Road 2s?
Yeah.
I thought I got like a special allowance because it's Mania weekend. Like it's not, and they're just some Road 2s and not that big a deal.
Well, I watched those. I did not watch the Death Vegas Invitational. I wasn't gonna plunk down the pay-per-view money for it, and I wasn't gonna spend time trying to find the right stream to watch it. So
I'll let you know where to find the good streams after the show is over. But yeah, I didn't plunk down any money for the bro. There's no way you could pay me. You couldn't. Well, maybe you could, because if I'm willing to take DoorDash money, I'm probably willing to take some money to watch Death Vegas Invitational. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm very torn right now as to whether we count this as a real true blue New Japan show or not, because
yeah, it's
go ahead.
I look at it, obviously, New Japan's on the marquee.
They're not this time though.
It was called NJPW Death Vegas Invitational.
Depending on where you looked, right? Mm-hmm. Like the last time they did the Death Bay Invitational, they did have New Japan's like Lion Mark logo on stuff, and it was, obviously held in Japan, and the whole production was done by New Japan. This one was a little more I know it aired on New Japan World, but it was a little more divorced from the New Japan presentation than the last few were. Same ring mat, same had all the black and white rolling cradle shit, the same way that they have the other shows that he's done.
Yeah.
But this one didn't have New Japan Presents or New Japan. The only place you'll see that is like on like cage match and stuff. Like there was no New Japan anywhere. So this one was one I was a little bit more torn as to like, is this official or not?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the card. I see a show that has Effie, the different boy, Jimmy Lloyd.
Yeah,
we got MXM Collection on here. We had Gringo. Well, actually, Gringo Loco is kind of raw. Matt Tremont and Nick Gage. Like,
we had women.
Yeah. This does not scream New Japan Pro Wrestling. Josh, you remember in 2018 where we had the Super Card of Honor. Saw a little Golden Lovers and tag team action. Saw Kota Ibushi in action. Saw Ishii versus Punishment Martinez. Remember in 2019 when New Japan sold out Madison Square Garden? We had Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito. Kazuchika Okada versus Switchblade Jay White.
Here's the thing, Jeremy. I guess if we're being generous, we could probably say, yes, this is a New Japan show adjacent. But like, I'll be honest with you, man. Maybe there might be some, like the main event might be an outlier, but I don't even know that it even matters because I don't think it would qualify for whether it was New Japan or not. I don't think it's going to qualify for a show of the year contender. I didn't see any angle of the years. There was nothing that was obviously part of the kayfabe of things. And the only match you might point to as being like a, maybe an excursion contender is the main event. And really it just depends on how much bandwidth you have for yet another death match, but not one that's full of like lore and spirit and heart and is going to make you cry. One that's more just like, you ever seen a GCW show with Matt Tremont and
Unfortunately I have.
and fucking Nick Gage, like it was basically along those lines. So is whatever,
Yeah.
I can run through that, but I caught this show. Essentially the opener, Zack Sabre Jr., he was supposed to originally face, I believe it was Hikaru Sato. And a lot of foreigners had issues getting into the country and with like the work visas and yada, yada, yada. So they basically marketed that there was a hand-picked opponent X that would come in and, be the hand-chosen replacement to face off against Zack Sabre Jr. This ended up being Fuminari Abe. If you've never seen Abe wrestle, this is a guy that I always forget his name. Him and I don't even want to mess it up. Tomoya, I forget his tag team partner's name, but those guys both have wrestled like Big Japan and are freelancers and kind of well known. And anytime someone's like, who would you like to see into Super Juniors? Those are like the two names that pop up in my mind, but I don't know their names like off the tip of my tongue. So I can't like just be like, oh yeah, Fuminari Abe, I want him in Super Juniors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He also works a much rougher, basically a heavyweight style as a junior. And he's probably more adept at someone you would see at like Glate, if they still exist. I don't even know if the company's still running at this point. But he was handpicked and brought in to wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. That is one I would say pretty recommended. I wouldn't say highly recommended, but we're bordering on a great match around the 4-ish star level. And he's a guy that can go toe to toe with Zack. If there's anything on the show that I would be like, hey, for the modern New Japan fan sensibility, that's a really good recommended match and probably worth your time to go check out. I saw some people being like, match of the year contender. No, personally, no, but I got standards, but I did think it was really great and probably worthwhile to watch. The second match, Ishin versus Effie and Jimmy Lloyd was whatever. Like, honestly, I will literally say here, and Ishin is who? That's basically, is that not what's his face?
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, that was the 3-way match. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so Ishin, I don't even know who that is. Someone from Japan. He beat Effie and Jimmy Lloyd. That was kind of a hardcore match. The third match of the night, Kushida and Yamato defeated Bust in the Brain, which is Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, and MXN, Mansoor, Mason Madden. And you know what the funny thing about this show is, Jeremy, is like, we always complain about the production levels of New Japan, and it's like the video was much better than what New Japan usually does in the States, but that's because they're using the house crew for the WrestleMania weekend at the Horseshoe, which is like the collective with GCW and all them. But the audio was abysmal. I'm talking really, really, really fucking bad. It was Veda Scott and somebody else. I don't even know who the other guy was that was on the commentary with her. And they did that like AAA thing where it's like you can only hear the commentators, so you could barely hear the crowd or the ring action because they're like they don't have it mixed well.
Yeah.
And then this match, and I was watching this on a not live, like a stream that was like
next day, kind of.
Yeah, next day. And there was like 10 minutes of the match that was just like, we will be back here shortly. And you didn't see. And then when it cut back in, it was like, Kushida and Yamato are your winners. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Also, it was full of gaga. Like, and I'm talking about like the kind of gaga that you expect to see on like a WrestleCon show where it's like everybody's going to put each other in an arm bar and they're all going to flip over at the same time and they're going to do funny shit. But it's a deathmatch show for New Japan. And it was just like, why are these guys, are you guys not trying to get signed? Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
The high stakes heartbreak jackpot match, Phantasmo, he was supposed to team with
Maki
Ito. She couldn't make it, so they brought in Micah. They defeated Dragon Kid and Starlight Kid, which it was just a lot of like kind of goofy, gaga, funny stuff. It basically felt like Micah just like basically cosplayed Maki Ito a little bit here and did mostly the same spots without the gaga that Maki Ito does, but basically
no crying or singing a song.
Exactly. Like she didn't do that shit, but she still did the same spots that, Maki Ito was going to do. Gringo Loco and Joey Janela defeated Daisuke Sasaki and Geto. So I guess this was a good chance to see the scummer, Daisuke Sasaki in action. Honestly, Geto put his fucking working boots on and was working hardcore match style. He loves him some Memphis type shit. You know what I mean? So that one was okay. I was surprised when I turned on the Road to the next couple days later and Ghetto's like in the ring. And I'm like, how the fuck do you make it to town? Like
that man did his match and left. That's hilarious. Yeah. On the commentary, I think Charlton was saying, Ghetto was talking about, wanting to do more deathmatch wrestling.
Man, I think we got a question here from MJ.
Yeah. He said thoughts on deathmatch and work rate Ghetto. Was he planning a run?
I don't know. He was having fun.
It was hilarious on the flagship on one of their WrestleMania reaction reviews. They were talking. Rich Craich was there in Vegas, and he was talking about he's walking around and Gato is sitting there at the slot machines, like just gambling away, drinking away, playing in the slot machines. It's, Gato's just right there.
The funny thing is, when I was watching this match and my wife, I was going to say my girlfriend, my wife comes in and she sees Joey Janela. She's like, oh my God, he fucking fell off. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, didn't he used to wrestle for the like AEW, like the big company? I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God. And he's doing this shit. And I was like,
this is what he came up in.
I was like, this is a pretty big show. I think they got like 1,200 people in the ballroom. Like, she's like, no. Like to her, like if it's not like 5K to like 10K, like average in an arena, like it's some indie mud show outlaw bullshit. She's like, oh man, I liked him. He fell off. This is terrible. Is he ever going back? And I was like, probably not. I was like, but he's working Brody Lee's kid. I think that's like probably the biggest match of the weekend. He's probably the biggest indie wrestler in the country right now, given the state of how things are going. There's no Matt Cardona anymore.
Yeah.
She's like, he's wrestling an 11-year-old. And I was like, dog, Brody Lee Jr. is like in high school. What are you talking? It's been 2020 was 6 years ago.
Yeah, that man hit the growth spurt.
Also, it was funny. I saw Dave Meltzer be like, he's better than everybody in NXT. I'm like, all right, come on, Dave. Like, I saw him throw a lariat. That kid can't throw a lariat yet. Like.
Oh man.
But then, the main event, Matt Tremont and Nick Cage, they defeated the teams of El Desperado and Jun Kasai, Masashi Takeda and Rina Yamashita in a love and pieces three-way death match. And this was like a pretty happy marriage between like the kind of deathmatch wrestling you see in the States with what's like available and a little bit of the like Japanese flavor of deathmatch. Like they didn't go as far as some of the shit that like you've seen with like the Despy and Jun Kasai matches, but they got pretty hardcore. They used glass, there was razor wire, there was boards and shit like that. And it was fun. I mean, bro, for me, call me old fashioned and maybe a little, and I know like I always have this gimmick where it's like I make fun of women's wrestling, but it is literally just a gimmick. But I personally don't really love seeing women get like, I know it's gimmicked, but like I don't love seeing them getting their fucking foreheads like ripped open by Matt Tremont and shit with like
running the razor
and the razor. Like even if it's simulated, like it's just kind of fucking gross to me, like I don't know, that's not really for me. But kudos to Yamashita. She took a huge fucking bump off the top rope. This went, if you notice, it went sub 15 minutes. The match before it went over 18, almost 19 minutes. Like,
yeah.
So, the big drawing match got a little bit less time, but they went balls to the wall and it was fun, but it's sort of just like, it didn't have the pathos and gravity that a lot of the Jun Kasai and Desperado matches have had. And I think they were trying to continue that lineage. Didn't quite work. And also the WrestleMania crowd fucking sucks now, bro. Like they were dead for every show I watched.
I'm telling you, man, it happened like after the pandemic when I went to that Dallas WrestleMania in, what was that, 2022, I think it was. That, because, when we went in 2018, 2019, when you go to that WrestleCon kind of show or some of those other shows, like there's some hardcore.
It felt special.
Yeah, it felt special. There's some hardcore, smarky fans. You're walking around, all the podcasters are there, all these big international fans are there. They're watching, the Bloodsport and the New Japan and Stardom, all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, this feels special, feels cool. And then something happened. Also, WWE kind of made that big comeback. And then, yeah, that 2022 Mania weekend I went to, I'm at the WrestleCon. I'm at I was at the AAA show and like no reaction to the flips and stuff. I'm at the New Japan, like all these shows I went to, which are shows that we would normally go to. Like the crowds were like, they're there to get their autograph and hurry up and get to like WWE Access or whatever it's called nowadays.
I think the GCW show, I think what's happened now is like there's less ability to travel between a lot of these events. So basically like people pick a camp and they just kind of like buy a package and crouch down and they're mainly in one spot for the majority of that weekend. But because the state of, and you know what, you also have to blame, yeah, you're right, some of that is WWE getting big again, but a lot of that is AEW just existing.
Yeah.
And the arms race created between those two companies just depleted and killed the independent scene almost entirely. So to where there isn't this excitement where it's like, oh my God, I'm seeing Ricochet and I'm seeing Will Ospreay and I'm seeing Jeff Cobb and blah, blah, blah. And whoever else was big at the time. It's just, that shit doesn't really exist. You're seeing like a lot of gimmicks. Mainly, I think the big appeal is gimmick shows and international stars coming to, be in the country. But I don't know how dedicated the fan bases are for a lot of that stuff at this point in time,
Yeah. And I will say, I feel like GCW has kind of cultivated their own little fan base. So you do have fans that, yeah, you mentioned they camp out for those GCW shows. Or they're watching the Bloodsport, they're watching Spring Break, they're watching, all these different GCW things. And I feel like the hardcore GCW fan is a totally different kind of fan. They're popping for Jimmy Lloyd. I'm not popping for Jimmy Lloyd.
Yeah, it is a totally different animal. So it's like they're there to like kind of show their support for shows like this, but it's like they don't love El Desperado. They don't love Ghetto, you know what I mean? Like, so
right.
But I will say this, long story short, if you're gonna pop in for this show, do yourself a favor, watch the first match, skip everything else and go straight to the last match. Unless you want to see Geto do some hardcore shit. I don't know how much like traction that has with you. For me, it was a kind of cool little side expedition, but I didn't need to watch it, honestly. Like you're not going to get a lot out of it. You could easily skip over that. If you want to watch the only two good matches on the show, it's the main event and the opener, and they're worlds apart. One's obviously like a plunder brawl death match. The other one is a technical, exhibition basically, and be done with it. You'll be done in 14 minutes, 26 seconds. This other one is 16, smooth 30 minutes between two matches, and you're good to go.
We had a question from Rambo and Slam Pig. Says, can we all agree that Jun Kasai is a terrible influence on El Esperado? My guy's looking grizzled at this point. It feels like when your kids start hanging out with the wrong crowd.
You're wrong, Rambone. I don't usually disagree with you, but you're wrong. Let me just tell you right now. Before this man, El Desperado, found Jun Kasai, he was floundering in the junior division. He was nobody. He starts out, he got his jaw broken, comes back, gains this aura about him. Junior champion, ace of the division. This dude found himself with Jun Kasai. Now, I see what you're saying. If I think the argument might be here, like, giving himself a little bit of a hit, one time, a little pick me up. No big deal with that. But now he's addicted to the cocoa. He's in love with the cocoa, and he's about that life. And it's taken him probably too far in that aspect. Yeah, you might have something there. We did have one question where someone was like, why does New Japan keep letting him do these death matches right before title matches or right before Super Juniors? And I'm like, dog, plausible deniability. This dude knows he's not winning Super Juniors, right? Mm-hmm. And then, but in the kayfabe, he's gonna be able to be like, bro, I went through fucking glass and a barbed wire board and was set on fire and had my jaw broken before I went into this tournament. So of course I didn't win it. Otherwise,
right.
if I came in 100% healthy, of course I was going to win this shit.
Right, coming in with the handicap.
I still got 10 points and I had a handicap. Like, come on, dog. Like, so that's his out.
Smart.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, it's smart. Makes sense to me.
All right. Well, that was Death Vegas invitation.
I did want to say one thing. The only other New Japan adjacent recommended match I could possibly point you to is probably Ray Jazz, who actually I was pretty impressed with, versus Zack Sabre Jr. from the Bloodsport show. Mm-hmm. I thought overall the Bloodsport show was probably better than this one. But I don't know if you saw, Jeremy, like they announced that Bloodsport is like donezo. They're not going to.
Yeah, Josh Barnett, after show announced that, that going forward there won't be any more Bloodsports. And of course, WrestleMania weekend is probably not really happening next year because it's going to be in Saudi. So we'll see what happens.
Seems like it's probably still going to happen, honestly.
Right. And also the origin of Bloodsport, it was Matt Riddle's Bloodsport. And then,
not according to Josh Barnett. That shit don't exist to him.
Right.
I literally saw him put a graphic out today that was like Bloodsport RIP 2019 to 2026. And I was like, dog, I was there in 2018. I saw it. He was supposed to show up. He was on all the fucking graphics. He didn't show up. They ended up running Minoru Suzuki. I was there, dude. Like, can't pretend this shit didn't happen just because your name wasn't on it.
Right. So, I mean, I could see somebody else taking it over. I heard that Killer Cross kind of produced a kind of Bloodsport-ish show.
He's been doing his own shoot style Bloodsport shows as well for a little while now. And so I don't know if you saw this, but like Josh Barnett, he announces it's pretty much done. He goes on Ariel Helwani's show and he's like, well, basically to him, his idea was like, I wanted to build this out into a real thing. But the problem is like, it can't just be a traditional touring independent, show because of the style of work and the type of talent that have to be signed and procuring the money and getting the right like stars to align to make something like that work with the champion and having to borrow talent from all these different companies. It just doesn't work. And so for him, he's like, I don't want this thing to digress. So I'm going to go out on top. And who knows what else might possibly be there. He talked about personal issues, but he's like, thank God for Brett Lauderdale for making this happen, blah, blah, blah. Hats off to him. Then I see Brett Lauderdale today. He's like, yeah, thanks Josh for all of his years of commitment and service, blah, blah. And only time will tell who or what is next for Bloodsport.
Yeah, he's probably has somebody else lined up.
And I'm like, bro, you think GCW is going to give up Bloodsport just because Josh Barnett can't beat all of the dudes that beat him earlier in his career back? You know, just because he's not going to show up to get his wins back against, you know, guys like Minoru Suzuki and
Nagata.
And Nagata doesn't mean they're not going to continue to do shoot style shows with no ropes. Like, we're going to get Shayna Baszler's, you know, Bloodsport or Dan Severn or
Natty Neidhart's.
Natty Neidhart, the Blackheart. Her fucking, yeah, bro, she had that was fucking funny. They did a protected finish with her and Shayna Baszler. Neither of them could lose. So like Shayna was choking her out. She stands up and she's getting choked out. She fucking dives into the crowd and they have a bunch of like, you know, independent wrestlers in handler gear catch them and they all fall out. And then they hit the 10 count. And I was like, dog, I watched enough All Japan Pro Wrestling in the 80s. I know a count out protected finish when I see one. I know what happened here.
Yeah.
But I think what really happened is, and this is where I'll leave it, we got to the point where Josh Barnett beat almost everybody that he ever wrestled in the company. And there was only one dude that continued to work these shows that he had never wrestled that was basically going to be the next guy. And it's Zack Sabre Jr., bro. Zack Sabre Jr. beats everybody on those shows. And I think what it was like the next big match next year would have had to been him and Zack. And can you see Josh Barnett agreeing to take a orienteering with Napalm Death from a fake shooter and tap out?
Have Zack Sabre Jr. just got to dance around that man.
You gonna see Zack Sabre Jr. put him in a fucking Clarky cat and have this man tap out? Like,
hurrah.
Hurrah, another year. You know, to a dude that's never had a shoot fight in his entire life, he's gonna tap out. But like, there's no way he could beat Zack Sabre Jr., the best technical wrestler in the world. So it's like, got to go out on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Smart.
So I'm really looking forward next year to Dan Severn's Bloodsport. I can't wait.
Ken Shamrock's Bloodsport.
Can't wait for Ken Shamrock and Hoist Gracie's Bloodsport.
Steve Blackman's Bloodsport.
Glacier's Bloodsport.
Eric Bischoff's Karate Man Bloodsport.
You know what they need to do? Matt Riddle's Bloodsport 2.
Returns.
Return of the Rude Dude.
Oh, man.
All right, so that's enough about WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, let's jump into the Road to Wrestling Dontaku tour. So the tour kicked off night one.
You're ready for the General to sponsor this show?
Yes, this night one review brought to you by
Slim Jim and the General Auto Insurance.
So night one of the tour kicked off. Cork and Hall reported attendance of 1,014. This was Sunday, April 19th. So the show opened up. We had Masatora Yasuda Taichi and Yuya Uemura defeating Ryusuke Taguchi, Taisei Nakahara, and Yo. And it was Uemura with the wrist lock submission on Young Lion Nakahara to get the win for his team.
Yeah, I've seen some people basically speculating, like, is this a new definitive finish for Uemura? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. This seems to me like just something where he's, just basically showing his superiority over a Young Lion, similar to how it happened off camera, but how they mentioned Kushida defeating Nakahara with a headlock. And I love that shit.
Yeah.
I love the idea that the veterans are like, I don't need to put you in a fucking Boston Crab. Take this top wrist lock, dog. Like,
yeah. I will say I'm really digging Nakahara now that we're seeing a lot more of him. I feel like he showed a ton of fire. He's giving me a little bit of Daiki Nagai vibes with his facial expressions and his attitude and the way that he's coming at the veterans. Also, I don't think he's quite as expressive as Daiki was, but I feel like he's leaning that direction and has a ton of fire. His strikes are looking really good. So, yeah, I've been really enjoying Nakahara so far. Yeah, and so this was a good way to kick off the show here, and it seems like we are, trying to rebuild Yuya a little bit since losing the New Japan Cup Finals to Callum Newman. So it looks like he's going to be slowly picking up some wins on these undercards. And, there is the whole thing. Sometimes the New Japan Cup runner-up ends up challenging for the title at the next show. So potentially we could have Yuya at some point, as he continues to pick up wins, be a challenge for the title.
Maybe, but it's not happening here at Dontaku, the traditional spot for something like that. And I don't know, man. Does Yuya Uemura versus hypothetically either Shingo and or Callum Newman at Dominion sound like a ticket seller to you?
No.
So I feel like this is going to be one of those rare exceptions. Like basically, and I hate to do this to him because I don't feel as negatively. I don't want people to get this twisted. I'm not trying to make it a 1-for-1 comparison. But we've seen guys that are runner-ups in tournaments, in heavyweight tournaments, that like the rule does not pan out the way you expect it to. And the person that I'm thinking of here is Sonata. Sonata's like the one guy. It's like he was constantly a runner-up, and he also never became that next challenger, or even got put into a top spot coming out of New Japan Cups or coming out of G1s where he lost. And I'm like, unfortunately for Yuya, kind of similar situation. Like I don't see him getting that push right now anyways.
Yeah, I think there's just something that's not quite clicking with him. Like I think his work is great. Like he's a great in-ring wrestler, great tactician, very crisp, very fast. But like there's something about like the way he carries himself or projects. Like he doesn't come off as a star. Like I think Tsuji carries himself like a star. And, even somebody like Daiki Nagai, who's a young lion, I feel has a lot of charisma and really carries himself and kind of really projects. And I just feel like there's just something just not quite there yet with Yuya.
I'll tell you what's going to happen this year. Anyone who wants to know what Yuya's projection is, because I know we've had questions about this in the past, and it's dawned on me, Jeremy. So he's going to win, find his way into the G1 in the same block as Callum Newman, the guy that beat him in the New Japan Cup. And guess what? He's going to beat that motherfucker. He's going to roll him up with a wacky roll up and 1, 2, 3. Oh, leverage pin. Guess what? He's getting the big title spot. But you know where it's going to happen?
Destruction.
In
Bipu.
Destruction in Bipu. Destruction in Nagoya. And then guess what? He loses. And then you know what's next for him? World Tag League. A really good World Tag League run.
Him and Taichi, yeah.
Him and Taichi. So, and people are going to be begging like, oh, they got to win. They got to win so they can face off for the IWGP. But guess what? The Never 6-Man Trios gauntlet is calling his name.
Oh, man.
Sorry, kid. Maybe he could have like a big New Year's Dash turn and special story, blah, blah, blah. Maybe next year's New Japan Cup would be a good spot for him. But that's the projection for Yuya. So
yikes.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
The next matchup here, we had House of Torture team Chase Owens, Sho, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Yujiro Takahashi defeated Great Bash heel Makabe and Hanuma, Master Wato, and Shota Umino, with Chase Owens hitting the C trigger on Hanuma to get the win. So Owens is next in line for Takeshita for the TV title, so they're heating him up here, and once again Umino kind of the proxy for Takeshita.
Yeah, this proxy's not really working for me, man. Like, it's kind of hard to have a stand-in for the TV title when it's like the 3rd or 4th tier title, and the guy that's challenging is Chase Owens. The math's not mathing for me.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that, and then after that,
sorry, shooter.
We had Great Okan, Hanare, and Jacob Austin Young of United Empire defeating the Goto Revolutionary Army of Bishamon and Tatsuya Matsumoto. So this was a preview match for the number 1 contendership match between UE and Bishamon. It was Jacob Austin Young getting the win with his Bite the Dust DDT over Matsumoto.
This is where I knew Bishamon was winning the next night. I was like, these dudes, they were like, we got a pin eater. We're going to take it easy. Let these dudes exhaust themselves. Oh, we're going to get the big, consolation victory. Get ready, boys. we got a game plan for tomorrow night. We'll let JAY have his little win over Matsumoto. That's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, then we'll get to that. But yeah, so they took the loss here this night, but definitely had a plan to come back the following night.
Is it a loss if they don't get pinned and it's just a green boy taking a bite the dust? I don't know.
Sounds like a fake job for Bishamon.
Just like MJF did a fake job on TV, Bishamon did a fake job here.
Yeah.
And bro, let's talk about that for just 2 seconds, right?
Oh, bro, I can go on forever on that.
It doesn't matter. We're just talking about Road 2. So, we don't have to talk about the match, but today the official poster graphic for Forbidden Door came out, and they finally did it, Jeremy. Every year for years, they have been able to work. They've been less and less New Japan talent on those Forbidden Door posters to the point where it was like, maybe Zach was on there. I think last year was like the one guy. They finally did it, Jeremy. No stars from Bushiroad whatsoever. They got they got Stardom's graphic on there. They got the line mark on there. No contracted talent whatsoever from New Japan or from Stardom on the graphic. But here's the funniest shit. The biggest picture guy at the top of the picture is the former champion MJF. The guy at the very tail end of the picture, the smallest picture, you could barely make out.
You gotta zoom in.
You gotta zoom in. Is the current AEW world champion, Darby Allin. And he's in a coffin. And I feel like that shit's about to close on him because he's about to get buried. And I know that they got another pay-per-view before this show shows up, but it kind of tells me who's going to be the champion come June. And it's not going to be the dude in the coffin. It's going to be the dude kissing his ring at the top of the graphic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And even if Darby is champion, he's not going to be in the featured match. He's going to be treated like Sonata was treated when he was a world champion.
Yeah, but he's the AEW champion and it's an AEW show.
Right. But if he's the champion, I feel like I don't know if he ends up in a bigger enough match to where that's closing.
Can you imagine them running like Darby Allin versus who's a talent in New Japan that you'd be like, yeah, I'd be totally fine with Darby Allin going over clean on them as the world champion in the main event. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the thing is, like, I would want to see him wrestle like a junior. I don't want to see it like,
no, he can't. He's the world champion, so it's got to be a heavyweight. So it's like, are you cool with him beating like
Taichi?
Yeah, well, no, Taichi's not it's got to be a big enough name to matter to the, like, I bet you the best name you could probably come up with is like Tomohiro Ishii because
oh my,
because he's technically a heavyweight, but he's also small enough to kind of be on the same like stature level. Plus he's got the like dual citizenship and all that.
Yeah,
but it probably have to be like him or Suzuki or I don't know. Maybe they bring Tanahashi back out of retirement and have him lose. But it doesn't matter. He won't be champion by then anyways.
Yeah. So after that, we had Aaron Wolf, Bolton Oleg, and Toru Yano defeating House of Torture, Dick Togo, Don Fale, and Ren Narita. So Yano getting the win here with a roll-up, and this is to continue the build for Wolf and Fale and Bolton and Ren Narita.
The most positive thing about all of this is that once it's done, we can move on. And it feels I feel kind of bad because on the one hand, it is nice to see Aaron Wolf teaming with guys that like are a little bit higher of a stature, like being able to see him work with Oleg Boltin. But like Oleg Boltin, this kind of reminds me a little bit of like 2016 where they basically had like Michael Elgin feuding with Kenny. Mm-hmm. But you knew the real feud was Tanahashi versus Kenny. So it's like Tanahashi's there supporting me. He's like, go get him. But you know, Elgin's not supposed to beat him. And it's really supposed to be getting back to Tanahashi and Kenny. That's what this feels like. It's like we all want Oleg Boltin to beat Ren Narita. But what's really going to happen here is Aaron Wolf is going to dispatch, Fale and move on. And then it's going to be him and Ren at the big show. And I don't know. I guess Oleg Boltin has that U.S. belt to fall back on, the strong title. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, Charlton really has been teasing on commentary of Bolton and Wolf, teaming up and how great it is to see them team. So I'm wondering if that's some breadcrumbs down the line, like we're going to see a Wolf Bolton tag team.
Well, when he comes on the show, we can ask him and be like, yo, do they feed you this shit? Or are you just trying to work yourself into a shape, brother? Like,
are you working or are you shooting?
Are you working or are you shooting?
Oh, man. So following that, we had Unbound Company, Daiki Nagai, Gato, Shingo Takagi, and Yota Tsuji defeating the United Empire team, Cal Newman, Francisco Akira, Jake Lee, and Zane J, with Tsuji hitting the Gene Blaster on Zane J. So this was continuing to build up Shingo and Callum Newman. Coming up at Dontaku, a little bit of the fallout of Newman and Tsuji. Also still kind of treading that line with Tsuji and Jake Lee, and Tsuji and Shingo as well. And also we've been talking about it for a while. These factions have been feuding for a while, so it's kind of continuing that whole thing going on.
I felt like this made Tsuji look a little bit like a bitch. I'm not going to lie.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like, okay, I get it. It is Shingo's time. So it's like, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back and let my dog do his thing. But like, if I was the dude carrying the 2 titles and I semi-headline the Dome, and this little bitch just took my title, I'd be like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I know you're challenging, but like, I'm gonna put my foot down and I'm gonna like show out. Like, I would have like gone nose to, I would have still gotten my shit in the match against Callum and still been like, big dog is still here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Roman would never let Jey Uso just outshine him like this. You know what I mean? Like, he would continue to little homie him. And like, that's what Tsuji should be doing to Shingo.
Well, post-match, we did have a video package of Andrade El Idolo, the real Latino man, challenging Yota Tsuji for the IWGP Global title, essentially saying that the match in America, he didn't really lose. The purpose of that match was to learn how to beat him, and he knows how to.
No sense.
He knows how to beat him now.
No sense.
And he wants to do it in Japan, in front of his friends and family, in front of your people, he said. And so it's been made official. Andrade, the replacement for Gabe Kidd for Wrestling Dontaku.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, what did Andrade do to earn this title shot? Was it when he got beat clean by Darby Allin, the guy that we're like, fantasy booking to only be able to beat Tomohiro Ishii hypothetically? Was it when he went where was it, like he went to Spain or like Europe and
lost to that random dude,
some dude that like everyone, he lost to some dude that we don't know who the fuck he is right now. Like, were those the moments where he got back in contention to be able to challenge for this shit? Like, make it make sense.
Yeah. Well,
or was it when he got Boston crabbed and tapped out clean in Jersey? You know what I mean? Like,
he didn't really lose. Didn't you hear him? That was just a scouting match. He was just trying to learn.
This is some DBZ fucking some logic. Like, oh, I wasn't actually fighting you with my real power level. Let me take off these weights so I can raise my power.
Exactly. He wanted to see how he could do them at the base level, and now in Japan he's gonna level up.
You know what it was? It was Vegeta when he used to get his ass beat and then he'd raise up the power level after he got beat. He's like, I only let you beat me so I could rise up the power level.
Right, yeah. We have
any sense.
We have a question from Rambo. Is Andrade El Idolo going to rescue Tsuji from being saddled with the global title the same way he has rescued the upper mid card of AEW from a distinct lack of swag?
I guess, yeah. I mean, whether people wanted it to be the case or not, I thought whoever was challenging in this spot was going to win the white title, whether it was a white man or a brown man, like in the case of Andrade. I thought somebody was going to unseat the global belt off of Tsuji. People didn't want it to be Gabe Kidd, but I think that's what was going to happen, and now it seems like it's going to be Andrade.
Yeah, I think definitely with it being a rematch and it being Andrade again, I think, he's definitely going to win back and get the title, which works really well for my theory of Tsuji is going to win the G1.
It does.
Yeah, it opens up the runway. No belts. He can slowly rebuild in June and July. Head into G1 and get a win there.
It helps with my theory that he is not winning the G1 and in fact will challenge for the title in October and regain that belt to head into the Tokyo Dome with it. So, sorry, Jeremy, but you are wrong.
We'll see. But yeah, I think that's what's going to go down there. And then following that, we had Unbound Company. This was the...
No, we had another question.
We did?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
On the run sheet. Do you need me to read it?
I want to see a Rambone's question.
Boston Crab Rangoon says, if Tsuji is successful against Andrade and rematches Callum at Dominion with the win and wins the heavyweight title again, do you think they might finally have him vacate the global championship?
Gotcha. All right. Just had to refresh there. I see it.
You added that yourself.
I know, but for whatever reason, my iPad did not have the latest change that I did right before the show.
Right, I always tell you not to fuck with Apple. I think that's an interesting take that he has there. Like, what if he is still the champion and that enables him to regain the title? Mm-hmm. Would the smart thing at that point be what we had suggested all the way back in January, where it's like, there's no need for him to carry both of these belts. Maybe it would be time at that point for him to just, vacate the belt and then you can crown a new champion. I don't know. I don't know what the dates will line up as. Maybe you could do it at Forbidden Door, or you could do it during the Soul series, or you could even push it all the way out to like Destruction. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense to vacate. I really do feel like the global title could be used to elevate people and really help get some people over. And I get it, doing the double title thing. I guess it, elevated Tsuji a bit, but it's always the same problem we talk about anytime we do this stuff. It's like, all right, like, are you going to have the world champion lose the white belt first? And that makes no sense. And so, yeah, if he does retain and ends up regaining the title, I do think he should vacate so that way they can use that global title on some other people to help elevate other talent and use it as a main event feature on other shows.
I think, and sometimes we get ourselves in trouble, both me and Jeremy, when we marry ourselves to a booking idea that isn't necessarily going to pan out. But in the case of Jeremy, he thinks that Tsuji is very likely going to, and I mean, it's pretty much a solidified thing. Like, I don't know how in the whole history of the show, like 8-9 years, I don't know that you and I have ever this early married ourselves to the idea of G1 winners and potential Wrestle Kingdom main events in April, 8 months out.
Right,
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
But like for the record, and of course this could always shift, but like I personally think right now it's going to be Tsuji regains the title somehow, some way, and then heads into the Dome against the G1 winner, which will be Yota Tsuji, or I'm sorry, Shota Umino. Your theory is that Tsuji wins the G1, and then who do you think he's going into the Tokyo Dome against?
I don't know. I can see it being Shooter, and I can see Shooter going in as champion. And Tsuji's the one challenging.
Is that something you're married to right now, or not really?
Umino as a champion is not something I'm married to. Just Tsuji winning, I feel like, I don't know. I think they're trying to go all in on Tsuji. I think, also he didn't get to main event last year because it was Tanahashi's retirement. And so I do think he's the one guy that they've kind of gotten behind and given the push to. So I think he's a guy that they kind of want to get some main events built up for.
Well, either way, both of us kind of have a rough outline of where we think things are heading. So that's kind of like influencing like the logic and the booking of what we're doing here. In either case, we still think that Tsuji is going. The one thing we can agree on is we think Tsuji will be headlining the Dome in a match for the title. How he gets there is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But we both kind of acknowledge the idea that this white belt is an albatross. And we both think that between now, which is basically May, between May and January, he needs to get back to the IWGP title or an IWGP title shot. And we talked about how, like, well, if he's still carrying the white belt, that's an issue because we've talked about the myriad of issues that exist if he's carrying both belts. And it's like, I guess they could merge them again, but that kind of defeats the purpose of like creating another secondary top tier title.
Yeah.
I love the idea that something that I don't think you and I had actually even reapproached since they didn't do it in January, which is like, hey, maybe he just vacates that shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that does feel like the way they should go. But honestly, what they're probably going to do, we're going to have Andrade win that title.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is every single, and this is nothing against Andrade. I think he's a great talent, but number one, he hasn't re-earned the shot. I guess from that logic, if you're willing to turn around and give Andrade an immediate rematch after doing nothing to earn the rematch,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably, after Tsuji loses this match, turn around in June and have him
Face
go
Newman.
for the title.
Yeah.
Face Newman for the title and basically be like, you kicked me in the dick.
Yeah.
And get back there. So maybe if you're a Tsuji fan, that's the one upside of this. But what we've seen time and time again, every single instance of any AEW talent winning a major title in New Japan outside of Takeshita is like probably the one exception. But when you talk about the white dudes, Kenny Omega, John Moxley, Chris Jericho, every time they win these belts, they just disappear and they're just gone and they abscond with the belts and they just don't mean much. It felt like with Gabe Kidd, win, lose, or draw, whether you loved the idea of him getting that belt or not, he was working it into his gimmick where he was like, I'm never coming back to Japan with this shit. Y'all broke my heart and I'm done.
Yeah.
But now it's just going to be like Andrade carrying the belt. And then it's going to be like, well, when the fuck is this dude coming back with that white strap? And it's going to devalue the belt.
It's going to be Andrade defending against Zachary Wentz on AEW Collision.
It's going to be him. Yeah. Him against one of the Rascals, him against one of the Black Heart, Leo Rush. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck's going on with this?
Yeah. And I know there is still a United Empire connection. So you could do the whole thing of, maybe Callum helps him beat Tsuji and then that Tsuji's, claim for revenge and claim to go after Newman kind of a thing.
And then I hope what happens is Tsuji turns around and tries to help Shingo, but accidentally fucks him. And then Shingo loses. And then you think that what's going to turn out of that is like basically Tsuji and Callum happening, but not. What we find out is Tsuji is actually the true underling to Newman. He's going to join the UE.
He's the secret benefactor this whole time.
Yeah, he's been the secret benefactor. How do you think you can afford all of those fedoras and long jackets and shit,
Oh my gosh.
Secret family money.
Well, moving on. So semi-main event and main event were previewing the upcoming junior tag team title match that's going to be happening at Wrestling Redzone. So we had in the semi-main event, Oscar and Robbie X defeating the TMDK team of Hartley Jackson and Kosei Fujita. So we had Oscar hitting the Berlin Fall, his version of the Baldo Bomb, on Hartley Jackson to get the win here.
This wasn't quite necessarily your Heyman special of a match, but I mean, could have been. They might as well have just fucking done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we kind of talked about it last week. Usually they don't do it with tag teams, but they could have done it here. But overall, I thought it was a good match. I mean, Robbie X, this guy's just so dynamic, and he has that Corkin crowd in the palm of his hands now, and big Robbie chance throughout the match. He's doing all his crazy flippy do stuff, and just looked really great in this match.
Yeah, I think we had talked last week where it's like, yeah, you look at the semi-main event, it's very clear the obvious pin eater in this particular situation, Hartley Jackson lays down for Oscar. We kind of knew that was happening, but the big discussion point last week was like, well, it's a little bit more iffy about what they do in the main event there. And I think they did the thing that I was like kind of surprised that they would actually do, which was have Oiwa just beat Ishimori on his way to kind of reestablish some semblance of like legitimacy because he got beat by Oiwa not too long, or by Ice not too long ago.
Yeah, so that was the main event. Robbie Eagles and Oiwa beating Ishimori and Yuto Ice, and Oiwa using the Roy Clutch on Ishimori to get the win.
I don't like that they're assigning these white man names to the Japanese man. You know what I mean? Like, his name's Oiwa. His name's not Roy.
Roy Oiwa.
Fuck Roy, bro. It's Oiwa, B.
So yeah, again, another really good match. And again, in this match for me, Robbie Eagles just really stood out. I know we talk about how great he is all time, but I just feel like he's just so underrated. Like, I feel like he does little things just so well and has a great crowd connection. And yeah, he looked good here. So getting a little momentum going into the tag team match for him and Fujita.
Agreed.
And so then that took us over to night 2. Also in Cork and Hall, this time we had a little bit lower attendance here, reported of 940. And this was Monday, April 20th. So we had a kickoff match, Jacob Austin Young defeating Taisei Nakahara in 5 minutes and 50 seconds with Jacob Austin Young using the TJP clutch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think accounted for the lower attendance here? Do you think it was because Jacob Austin Young was at opening?
Well, and that was a kickoff match. It was very empty during the kickoff match. So, yeah.
Is he allowed to use TJP's move when he's persona non grata in this match or in this company? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, I'm double checking that because I know he's been using the bite the dust. I'll make sure I pulled that correctly.
If it wasn't from NJPW1972.com, I don't trust it.
It was. Yeah. It says here TJP clutch. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, they need to call it the JAY clutch and, commandeer that shit.
Yeah, that's right. It's that, that inverted figure 4 thing. Yeah, that TJP used to do. Yeah.
Bro, I saw a clip. I know this is off topic, but I saw a clip the other day of a shoot match from like the 80s where someone was going for a figure 4 leg lock. And the way that the person defended the figure 4 was they grabbed the free leg. You know, the one that you would usually like flip over after you spin around.
Yeah.
You grab the leg and you cross it over. They took the crossover leg and pulled it to their own fucking chest. So that the person didn't have a leg to grab. I was like, that's the kind of shit I want to see in wrestling, is like stuff you just never ever thought to even think of or have never seen. And Nakahara needs to go study some I don't know, some PWFG if he wants to figure out how to avoid some of this shit,
Yeah. And so yeah, Jake Austin Young, he's getting ready for Super Junior. So yeah, we've been seeing him pick up a lot of wins against Young Lions to give him some credibility going into that tournament.
Well, what that means is him getting a bunch of wins over Young Lions means he's gonna go
3-6.
Like, that's a little. I was gonna go 4 points probably. He's gonna get 2 big wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then the show proper opened up. We had Yumura, Taichi, and Masatora Yasuda defeating.
How could you tell that it opened? Was there pyro?
No, as much as I know Super J-Cast really wants there to be pyro in Cork and Hall. No, I mean, it cuts to the VTR, the video package.
I don't know that the fans and the attendants are enjoying. I know that they do have a projector there in the building, but I don't know how much they get to really enjoy the visuals of that VTR. I think the only way you can really create a delineating line is pyro.
I mean, why not?
Why not? Bro, if in 1995, if Shawn Michaels got pyro on Superstars, I don't know why Yuya Uemura can't have his own fucking pyro walking out.
He's the heat storm, right? Well,
he's the heat storm.
Bring the heat.
Bro, they could just get the flames. Those flames obviously cost
the Harlem
us.
Heat.
Raise the fucking roof, you know what I mean? Bro, someone needs to show him some Harlem Heat shit and him coming out like this.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Bro, I swear to God, in 2000, I thought that Booker T was a much fucking better wrestler and a bigger star than The Rock. Bro, The Rock hits the rock bottom, but the bookend hits the bookend, dog. Like,
oh man,
bro, The Rock beat Mankind. Guess who the fuck the book beat? Scott Steiner, the genetic
Big
freak,
Papa
dude.
Pump.
Like, Big Papa Pump. Yeah, look at those two. If you put Big Papa Pump in a room alone with Mick Foley, who the fuck you think's walking out of that room?
The Steiner math does itself. Oh man.
Yeah, bro. I thought that I thought Booker T was the biggest star in the world in 2000 for some reason. He beat Jeff Jarrett. He beat Buff Bagwell. Scott Steiner. He beat Kevin Nash. I don't know how he's not the top guy in the world right now. Better than Mizawa.
That's why Triple H had to, humble that man.
Amongst other things.
Yeah. So following that, Yu Uemura, Taichi, and Masatora Yasuda, they defeat Wato, Taguchi, and Matsumoto. And Uemura here, another submission victory. This time, he was going for the deadbolt suplex, but Matsumoto was fighting it off. But then he just kind of turned it into like a double armbar lock, which I guess he calls the Kanuki, and tapped him out with that.
I like it. I hope it's something that sticks and actually picks up with the audience. I think that that's really the tell here is if it gets over or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Let's Commission 7252 said thoughts on Yu Uemura's new submission finisher that he won with today. And yeah, I think it makes the deadbolt even more deadly, or that position, because it's or he's got you, is he going to tap you out or is he going to throw you? Once he has you, you're kind of screwed because either one can happen now.
Yeah, I like that that kind of threat that exists there where it's okay, this is a much more heightened, dangerous position to be in, and I'm in danger,
Yeah. So again, Uemura picking up a win there to build some momentum for whatever's next for him. Then following that, we had Chase Owens, Yujiro Sho, and defeating Chase, Yujiro Sho, and Kanemaru defeating Umino, Makabe, Hanma, and Yo, with Chase doing the high noon, which was the former jewel heist maneuver on Hanma. So again, continuing to heat up Chase Owens.
Can't wait for this Chase Owens push to bear itself out. You think he's going to win that TV title?
I don't think so.
Can't wait for these 14 minutes and 48 second, near time limit draws where Chase Owens. Oh, actually, Chase Owens, bro, if he did win that shit, he'd be pulling the Regal where every single match would be a time limit draw where he would just barely survive. So I pray to God he doesn't win that fucking shit.
Yeah. So then following that, we had Jake Lee and Francisco Akira defeating Gato and Yota Tsuji in 8 minutes and 7 seconds, with Akira hitting the fireball on Gato to get the win here. And looks like, Jake Lee, the madness is spreading. We had a row of people in Korakuen Hall all wearing the clown mask. And we had a question from Let's Commission 7252. Is Jake Lee getting over with the whole clown gimmick now that he has followers in the crowd in Korakuen wearing his clown mask? And MJ says, I was going to ask the same thing with Jake Lee. Is he an irony wrestler now?
I didn't say that this would get over, so I don't want to claim that sort of credit, but I did say that this is a dude who knows that he doesn't have the goods anymore and knows that someone like fucking Taguchi and Toriano are on their last legs and is looking to build a niche for himself to stay employed as long as humanly possible. And he's like, I need a gimmick. I need some comedy shtick. I don't care what I got to do. I'll put some paint on. I'll put some shit up people's asses. whatever I got to do.
I got the monkey.
I got a monkey with me. There's no Hiromu around with the cat. I got a stuffed animal. I'll do whatever it takes, Just because it's popular with the segment of the audience doesn't mean that it's actually good. Let's just
yeah, I think that's a very clear distinction that needs to be made.
The best-selling movies in the country are Marvel movies, and those are terrible, right, Jeremy?
Hey, I enjoy Marvel movies, and I enjoy Fast and Furious. So
I rest my case. No, but like literally, big blow 'em up movies, as cool as those may be, are never going to like win an Oscar for being recognized as like a piece of art or the best movie that's out there, blah, blah, blah. And a few guys wearing a mask and putting some paint on their face in the middle of Corkin, which is already full of freakazoids as it is. Let's just
right. That's
you're not gonna see the shit in Nagoya.
Right. That's the smarky crowd, and they're like, yeah, this Jake Lee thing, we like it. Yeah, let's. I feel like that would be us, like, going to the Orpheum and trying to get somebody over who's not really over.
You're not gonna see. There ain't gonna be no motherfuckers in Fukuoka rocking that shit. You know what I mean?
They roll into Hiroshima. They don't fly like that.
Oh man. And they always say funny don't make money, you know what I mean? So it's like, might keep him employed. That's fine.
Yeah, it'll make him some money.
It's gonna make him some money, but I don't, and maybe that's what he deserves at this point. So
you deserve it.
Bro, he found out Sonata was coming back and he was like, oh, I gotta ramp this shit up.
Yeah, that's where he busts out the face paint. He's like, yeah, we're going to the next level.
There's only so much room for mediocre Japanese men who can.
Oh my gosh, call that man mediocre.
We had a comment here. Immortality 777 says, with Naito and Bushi gone, we need Jake Lee to act as Callum's belt holder and ring rope opener. That's it. If I'm at Corkin Hall and I see Jake Lee walk out with my cue to walk to the lobby for the next 10 minutes.
Bathroom break.
Oh man. He could literally just be Gideon Gray.
He could be, yeah. Cut the promos in Japanese.
And you know what? I wouldn't be opposed. The funny thing about that is he's bigger than almost everybody in the company. So he'd be like the biggest manager you've ever seen in your life. But maybe that's better for him,
Yeah. So yeah, with that match, see Akira, he's getting ready for Super Junior, so win there for him. Then following that, we had Yano, Aaron Wolf, Bolton Oleg defeating Renderita, Don Fale, and Dick Togo. Again, Yano with another roll-up victory. So again, kind of
wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah. And then that brings us to the two matches that were set to help build heat for the upcoming title match with Shingo and Newman. So first we had Shingo Takagi defeating Zane J in 5 minutes and 4 seconds with the Princess Curse. So using his version of that to try to get under Newman's skin. And then after that, you had Newman defeating Daiki Nagai in 5 minutes and 43 seconds, and Newman using the Made in Japan.
I really enjoyed both of these matches. It's no secret that I've been a fan of both Zane J and Daiki Nagai for a while now. And to see them get these kind of like highlighted and spotlighted opportunities against big veterans, I thought that they made the most of it. I thought that the veterans allowed them both to shine. Maybe they gave a little bit more to Daiki Nagai in the Cal Newman match.
Yeah. Because, Zane J, he ended up, he jumped Shingo before the bell during the entrance and kind of had the advantage there. But then once they got back in the ring.
I told you this is where they were going to do the real Heyman special.
Yeah. And then once he got in the ring, Shingo got back control. And, yeah, he kissed the crown and did his version of the lariat. And then, did the Princess Curse and, mopped the floor with Zane J.
But I thought these were both very fun, very good developmental matches for the young guys and told a good story from a, storytelling perspective with the feud that's going on. And it made total logical sense. And, considering where Zane J and Daiki Nagai might be a year or two from now, these are going to be the kind of matches where you look back sort of like, I remember at one point, my brother, like when he started getting into New Japan and Jay White was the champion and he was like, you seen this Jay White Kenny Omega match from when he was a young lion, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that shit is always pretty cool. So this kind of serves maybe not the same story, but a similar kind of oddity where you see these guys face off against like big stars early on.
Yeah, I think it also helped establish too, like these guys are still young lions, because if they were, you know, quote unquote graduated, I think they would have gotten even a little bit more time. But I think, yeah, they're still kind of in that quasi young lion state. I did think Daiki Nagai, like you mentioned, did get a lot of shine there, and so it was one of those things where, you know, Callum was kind of underestimating him. You know, why do I have to wrestle this guy? He kind of hesitated, you know, going in the ring, and then it's almost kind of like that 1, 2, 3 kid. You know, it kind of feel like that could have happened because he had Daiki Nagai. He's flying around. He's doing tilt-a-whirl DDTs.
Can you imagine?
And yeah, he's just going, you know, running wild on Newman until finally Newman was able to kind of regain himself, hit the lariat, hit the Made in Japan, and put Daiki away. But yeah, I thought both matches served the purpose, looked really, really good, and it was a great kind of mix-up instead of these guys just kind of being in a random preview tag every night.
I thought it served a good purpose. I still like seeing these guys in preview tags ahead of time, but I thought that this was a cool kind of like rare side quest that they don't normally do in these situations.
Yeah, I like preview tags too. It's just like, you know, sometimes with those tours where like every show's televised and then it's just like
the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, mix it up here. Yeah, do this thing where they face off against faction mates and kind of this one-on-one shit. Kind of the same thing we kind of talked about with like Takeshita and Umino going into their match where, they had matches where they were kind of watching each other and they kind of built that way. And Boston Crab Rangoon says, any gut feelings on what the title picture will look like after Dontaku going into Dominion?
No, that's where I'm really torn because as exciting as the elevation of Newman has been, it's very clear that like, okay, we're going into May. He's got Shingo at this point, bro. Like, I don't know if anyone's picked up on this. He's a guy that is good for a once a year title shot that he just fails ever since he dropped the belt back in 2022 to Okada. Mm-hmm. I know he's lost to Goto. He's lost to Zack Sabre Jr. And I'm trying to remember who else he challenged, but like this will be his 4th title challenge. And it's been every year consecutively where he doesn't win the title, and he's not going to win the title from Newman. All the same, it is still a great styles matchup. Like, I still really enjoyed the match they had against each other in the G1. And we're not so far gone with Shingo to where a win over him in a title match doesn't still hold some distinction or credibility. So it makes sense why they're doing this, especially since also before the title switch ever happened, I kind of speculated that they do similar booking in this situation as they did with like Naito back in 16?
Yeah.
Where he beat Okada and then faced stablemate Ishii at Dontaku. Kind of similar situation here. But once it's over, because I fully expect him to retain, you do kind of wind up in a situation where it's like, who is his next potential opponent? And if you just go back to Tsuji, how do we justify that? And if it's not Tsuji, how do we get there? Like, what are the telltale signs of singles matches that are on the horizon that could name a number one contender that's deserving that I'm not seeing right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Tsuji's kind of like the main option, especially with Dominion going to be aired on TV again, and Tsuji was a part of, the semi-main event of Wrestle Kingdom where that aired, and so yeah, you would think he's probably the prime candidate to get the shot, but then again, it's like, how does he re-earn it if he ends up losing to Andrade? Also, there's the whole Will Ospreay thing, and like, I
guess that's something people have mentioned.
But then you're doing double white man in the main event of a show that's being televised in Japan.
No problem for us here in America. We
don't. So yeah, that's always in the mix as well. But yeah, outside of Ospreay and Tsuji, like, I don't know who you go with. Obviously, Goto's kind of back in the Bishamon mix. I don't see them pulling the trigger on a Zack match right now. So outside of that, it's like, yeah, who would you put in that primetime spot to be in that main event?
Yeah, it's it's a little perplexing. Maybe you do go back to Yuya. Maybe I'm selling him a little short. But I'm looking at the landscape and I'm trying to figure out, is there anything on Dontaku that names a de facto number one contender or someone that could very quickly get into that contention that would draw money? I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the card real quick. Yeah, see what
maybe this is where we should be reading the tea leaves a little better than we typically do. Because I think what we've fallen into is like Geto had a certain pattern, and he has clearly, especially since the pandemic, but especially since coming back to like full clap crowds, tried his hardest to lean away, even though he still falls to the same proclivities. He's trying to lean away from whatever those most obvious like patterns are when it comes to how he books the year and books title switches and tournaments. And we can still pick up on it from time to time, but I think that he's trying to deviate from it in ways that are not as obvious.
So I got a name for you. Shota Umino.
That could happen, but I mean, how do we get there? He just lost to
right. Well, so
Takeshita.
He's teaming with Takeshita on night 1 of Dontaku, and they're facing Yujiro and Chase, so they're gonna win that. And let's see what he's doing on night 2. And then night 2, he's teaming with Hanma against Knockout Brothers. Well, they're losing that. So never mind.
Does he just come out with a shirt and be like, hey, I got these pink glow sticks. I'm going to give him some kids. Let me get that title shot.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Right. Cool.
So, I mean, that's the only other name and a guy that's on there that could potentially have any kind of momentum going into that show.
So I think that's where I'm getting maybe I don't know if it was Boston Crab Ragoon earlier in the show. They were like, what if he does retain against
Andrade?
And then it's like I have trouble with that because I didn't even think that Tony Khan was going to let Andrade job the first time.
Right.
So part of me is like, are they going to let him job twice? But it would be easier at this point because it's not like he's coming off of wins over Kenny and Swerve the way he was before.
Yeah.
Now he's like taking losses. So I'm like
he just lost to Darby.
Maybe he could do 2 jobs because, the shit that happens in Japan isn't real anyways and doesn't matter on their TV.
Right. And again, he's another guy where they're doing the slow bay face turn. It seems like he's going to be on the out of the Don Callis family, and then do you have something where he loses and he also gets booted out of United Empire?
I mean, it's not totally his fault. Maybe we're jumping into tunnel talk, territory here, kind of speculating on Don Callis and his boys and what are the inner machinations of the all of the politics that take place within that household.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's like, there's so many fucking people. How could you not potentially step out of line accidentally? It's like there's any wrong move. There's like 35 people. It's like, it could be its own fucking company. If people are always asking like, who could amass enough talent to start their own company and like jump off? It's like Don Callis. He's already signed half the talent in AEW. If he wanted to like join with Vince McMahon, he could start his own shit.
They could brand, Don Callis family versus AEW.
Bro, NWO at its heyday only had about half the members of Don Callis family. Like, it's crazy. And they don't even have a motif. They don't have a brand. No one dresses the same. No one has the same agenda. They're just there.
Well, they have been doing the Letterman jacket gimmicks lately.
Nope. They're just boys, and they all are searching for meat. Apparently, according to Tunnel Talk. No, it's ham. They fight for hams.
So next matchup, we had Knockout Brothers and Robbie X defeating Oiwa, Fujita, Robbie Eagles. So actually, it was an 8-man. Knockout Brothers, Robbie X, and Ishimori defeating Oiwa, Fujita, Eagles, and Harley Jackson with the Rumbling, which seemed like a new tag finisher from the Knockout Brothers.
Well, we've talked ad nauseum for a while now about how great KOB is, and the Unbound Company tag team and the TMDK, junior tag team. And we got 6 of those guys along with others that we've been praising, like Hartley Jackson. It was like, if these guys had like the chains dropped off them and were allowed to, given like, say, 10 more minutes, we could actually be looking at a classic. But for a 9-minute, 24-second sort of just preview tag, I thought these guys worked their asses off and worked really well together, and kind of highlighted why the tag team division is on fire the way it has been in both the heavies and the juniors.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really fun matchup, and all these guys in this match are really, really fun to watch. And yeah, I think everybody did their job. Everybody got over here, and so yeah, I would love to have seen these guys, like you mentioned, go a little bit longer, but they made the most of the time, and I'm really looking forward to Sweet Boys Robbie X Ishimori rematch, and then I think they got something there with Jackson and Oiwa teaming up. I know they've kind of focused on Oiwa and Zach, but I feel like Oiwa and Jackson have been pairing really well together.
I think it's a great tag team as well.
And then that takes us to the main event, which was for the number one contendership for the IWGP tag team titles. We had Bishamon defeating Great Okan Hanare in 25 minutes and 16 seconds with the Shoto.
I thought this was very good. In a different year, we might be talking about like, oh yeah, this was like borderline great for the tag team division. But because of how great the tag team division has been in 2026, I was like, kind of like
all right
tier. It is all right. Like kind of lower tier for what I expect. You know who this really does speak to in terms of quality is KOB, because every time that they've been in the ring, they've knocked it out of the park. And then you got 2 teams here who they've had great performances against in the past separately, but without them in the equation, it's like, I thought this could have been better. It wasn't as good as I expected. It was still very good. I was a little surprised by the outcome here. I kind of thought that the heels were going to pick up the victory, but nonetheless, I feel like KOB gets the credit for how they've had great matches against these 2 different teams and all the other teams. And then when they're devoid of the situation, not as good,
Yeah, I was also surprised. United Empire is getting the full-on push right now with Newman as champion. So yeah, I thought that they would have given Hanare and Okan a crack here. But they went with Bishamon, but also kind of surprising too, because I feel like Bishamon versus KOB is a really big match that you might want to do on like a Dominion, but this match is going to be happening at Wrestling Redzone in Hiroshima, which it's that kind of junior conundrum of like, do you want them to have their own main event, or do you want them to be on the big show? And like, yes, I think it's good that the tag titles are, main eventing their own show. They're going to get time. It's probably going to be a really great match. But then from a visibility standpoint, like, would it not have been better to maybe have this match, this protected matchup of Bishamon and KOB on Dominion?
The way you described that reminds me of the episode of The Office where Michael Scott orders from a place called Alfredo's, and they're like, is it Alfredo's Pizza Kitchen or is it Pizza by Alfredo's? Because these are 2 very different Alfredo's. And Michael Scott's like, is it better to have a really large amount of pretty good pizza or a medium amount of really good pizza? And they're like, a medium amount of really good pizza. So yeah, I thought the match was good. I kind of agree. I think that but maybe we are overvaluing the impact of like where Bishamon is in 2026. Maybe they're not quite the hot act they were as a couple of years ago.
Yeah, especially, Goto's been doing more single stuff lately. And so, yeah, that Bishamon as a team really hasn't been pushed in probably the last year or so. So maybe that commodity of the team's cooled down a bit. But, I mean, they are getting their own main event, and it should be a great matchup there. And, in this match, you had Hanare busting out the Tongan death grip. And so that's kind of been the new thing that he's been incorporating in his matchups. And so, this match was very hard hitting. You had a lot of, cool double team spots between both the teams. Yoshihashi, he's the king of the saves. And so he was making saves left and right for the team, and they were able to hit that Shoto there towards the end and get the big win. So overall, a good Cork and Hall matchup, but like we talked about, I feel like the playing field has increased with the KOB run, and we're seeing a lot of really, really great high-level tag team matches. And so when you have a match that's more of the 3.5 star range, it does feel a little bit lower compared to the previous matches. We did have a few questions here. So first, Les Commission 7252 says, with UE being rebuilt stronger than ever, how come UE are still a faction who can't get the job done when it comes to big opportunities? Andrade with the Global, Jake Lee with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Akira and JAY with the IWGP Junior Tag titles, and today, Hanare and Okan with the chance to challenge for the IWGP Tag Team titles. Even with Newman winning the IWGP Heavyweight title, they still don't feel like a threat of a faction. Yeah,
I can't say that I disagree. I think that's more of a statement personally, that it's just a statement of the facts that it's like time and time again, you expect that as this team is being reestablished and reaffirmed and re-strengthened, that they would push other than Newman, at least one facet of the group, whether it's the junior tags, the heavyweight tags, or even just a secondary title or a junior tag or a junior singles title. But as he has stated so far, maybe this will change with Super Juniors, but as it stands, they can't get it done other than Newman. I don't know. Maybe that's a testament to Newman that he has like risen above the apparent kayfabe. This is not them as individuals, but the kayfabe mediocrity that exists with the group. Maybe he has, elevated above the muck, and he's the only standout in the group. But you would think as they want to sell shirts and towels and shit, that maybe they push some aspect of the team other than him.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is their way of trying to help establish Newman. It's like, yeah, he's clearly, the top guy of the group because he's the one that's winning and, making the most of all these opportunities. So, like, yeah, he's a leader for a reason. So maybe that's what they're trying to do there. But I do feel like with, War Dogs being gone and a lack of a true top heel faction, I know House of Torture's there, but that's not a main event faction. I feel like you'd want to elevate the whole group. And yeah, I feel like Akira and Jacob Austin Young could have easily won the junior tag team titles. And I feel like Hanare and Okan could have easily won this match and gone on to face KOB, but maybe more will come. Yeah. Like you mentioned, Super Juniors, seems like Akira again seems to be a potential favorite for that tournament. And maybe they challenge again after the winners of Sweet Boys, Ishimori and Robbie X. And then obviously, you'll have a lot of UE guys in G1, so maybe they'll have some time to shine there as well.
It just feels like we weren't running into these issues when TJP was on top.
True. Yeah, Catch 2-2. They're junior tag champions,
Very much so.
And again, this is where I feel like the global title could help one of these other guys. Like, why not give, like, Hanare the global title and have him kind of be elevated in that way? I also had a question from Rambo. He says, what do you think is next for United Empire tag team after they lost the number one contender match to Bishamon? Do you expect them to circle back around for a title challenge pre-G1, or is that unlikely?
I did wonder if maybe by losing here, they're actually the winners, because as you mentioned, the winners get the lower profile show. And could they potentially work their way back into contention to be the challengers at Dominion? Possibly. And, with that show being on TV, I feel like because it's in the middle of the year and it's a big show, there's maybe a stronger possibility of title changes. We've seen a lot of titles change at Dominion. Mm-hmm. So I'm also kind of wondering, like, okay, if these guys, KOB, if they do get unseated, maybe that's the big victory. So UE loses here, but then they go into Osaka Hall and win the belts, and they're the champions through the G1 or whatever.
Yeah, and we've also seen in the past too, they like to do 3-way with the title. So you could have something where, Okan Hanare, maybe they run back the Bishamon match before Dominion, and then they have a case, and then you do a 3-way with Bishamon, Knockout Brothers, and United Empire, and maybe you have United Empire pin Bishamon to get the titles off of them without having to beat KOB, and kind of protect them that way. But we'll see what happens. But I could see them potentially getting back in the picture at Dominion. So that's the first 2 nights of Road to Wrestling Dontaku. We did have the contract signing press conference for the IWGP Heavyweight title match between Shingo Takagi and Callum Newman. And during that contract signing, kind of the big talking point coming out of that is it seemed like both guys teased their match being a street fight or some kind of, no DQ hardcore style matchup, which I guess could be great, but I don't know. I feel like both of these guys are talented enough to just give us a traditional New Japan main event style IWGP heavyweight title match. I don't feel like they need to plunder it up. I don't feel like that's necessary here. But if they do end up going that route, again, they're 2 great guys. They'll probably knock it out the park. But I would like to see Newman get more of the traditional style main events without having to, go the plunder route.
I can't even, maybe I'm overthinking this, but off the top of my head, I can't even think of a single gimmick, like, not that there hasn't been gimmick matches, but a street fight or a hardcore or a death match for the title. I know that they've done like 3-ways. They've done, the steel cage in the past many moons ago, but like, when did they ever do a death match or a hardcore match or whatever, a street fight for the title, for the IWGP title?
Yeah. I can't think of a time either. And I guess one advantage of doing that, that kind of throws out the whole, Newman's going to cheat. Well, like everything's legal and he wins. It's like, hey, I there's no excuses. I beat you in this plunder match, but I don't know. I would still prefer just a straight up singles.
I also feel like with what we're hoping he can be from a like match quality standpoint for our personal enjoyment, that kind of just goes out the window a little bit when it's like, all right, well, he's working, instead of working a classic with Shingo in the house style, which is what we're hoping to see out of him. It's like, all right, well, they had a street fight, like they were just working in fucking Ontario, California, on one of the strong shows. Like, did this feud even necessitate that they have a street fight? Are either of these 2 guys known specifically as being gimmick wrestlers? Was there some sort of personal vendetta that needed to be settled while they wear jeans and knee pads? Like, nothing about this feud that has transpired like screams, we're going to settle this in a street fight for the title. Like, what?
Yeah, and I guess, there are a couple more weeks left, so maybe they can heat it up that way. But yeah, I don't think that I could see maybe if you want to do like Tsuji Newman street fight, and Tsuji's like, yeah, I want to even the playing field. You like to use weapons. Let's, go out there. And
it would have made total sense if it was David Finlay and Newman trying to settle the score back in like January or November, or like, between November and, December or whatever.
Yeah, that blood feud they were having. Yeah.
Right. But this isn't that. This is just 2 guys where it's like, I want the title and I'll street fight you for it.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, this is the king of sports. Like, what the fuck are you doing? No.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's just one of those scenarios where they just kind of went off left field, went off script, and it's one of those comments that just got made and there's no follow up from it.
Did he yes and him? Do you know about that?
What do you mean?
So when you do like improv, they call it yes and. So it's like, instead of you always agree with the person and you add to it. So that's what he was doing. Like one of them said a fucking street fight. And he's like, yeah, and I'll beat him at the street fight. I'm down for it. Like, get us like, what the fuck? Why are they talking about street fight? We've never talked about this.
Well, yeah, so that was the contract signing, and so we have some nights of Road to action coming up this week. So Friday, April 24th will be night 3 of the tour. So we'll see Yasuda, Taguchi, Taichi taking on Makabe, Hanma, and Nakahara. We'll have Okan Hanare and Jacob Austin Young taking on Goto, Matsumoto, and Yoshihashi. Wato, Umino, Tiger Mask, Yano, and Yo taking on Chase Owens, Dick Togo, Doki, Sho, and Kanemaru. TMDK, Hartley Jackson, Vegeta, Eagles, and Oiwa taking on Gato, Robbie X, Ishimori, and Yoda Tsuji. Then we'll have United Empire, Newman, Akira, Jake Lee, and Zane J versus Nagai, Knockout Brothers, and Shingo. And then the main event will be Aaron Wolf, Bolton Oleg, and Yu Uemura versus Don Fale, Ren Narita, and Yujiro Takahashi.
I mean, the card is not unusual. The lineup is a little unusual because we've seen this exact 6-man tag team match a few times on this tour now, but now it's headlining. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems odd. So yeah, nothing, kind of the same old there. And then that takes us to
good enough to headline in Mbari, but not good enough to headline at Cork. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then Saturday, the next day, April 25th, we got Wrestling Redzone in Hiroshima Sun Plaza. So we'll kick off Young Lion action and Tetsuya Matsumoto versus Taisei Nakahara.
The biggest match of their lives.
Cue the My Way video package.
Just one.
Then we're going to have Wato, Umino, and Yano and Yo taking on Chase Owens, Sho, Kanemaru, and Yujiro. Then Yasuda, Taguchi, and Taichi taking on Akira, Okan, Hanare. Aaron Wolf, Bolton, Tiger Mask, and Makabe taking on Dick Togo, Don Fale, Doki, and Ren Narita. Then Hanma and Uemura will take on Hartley Jackson and Oiwa. United Empire, Cal Newman, Jake Lee, Jacob Austin Young, and Zane J will take on Nagai, Gato, Shingo, and Tsuji. And then the two big matches here, semi-main event, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title. We'll have the Unbound Company team of Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori defending those titles against the Ichiban Sweet Boys, Kosei Vegeta, and our good friend Robbie Eagles.
On the one hand, you look at the show and you're like, it's just basically a Road to show. So how excited could I possibly be for it? But then you get to the top of the card and it's two of the best tag team matches that you could possibly arrange on paper today in the two top, in the two divisions. So it's like, show's gonna kind of fuck, like
it's the red zone, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. But those first 6 matches are the same shit we've been seeing, but then it's gonna jump up a notch there.
Yeah. So what are you thinking predictions wise here for these title matches?
I don't like to get too deep in the weeds when it comes to the junior tag team titles right before Super Juniors, because I've seen times where they have followed the same logic and booking that we would think of, where it's like, all right, if you're a tag team champion, the likelihood you're going to contend for the tournament championship or for the junior title is diminished. Sometimes they follow that logic, but sometimes they really don't, because the junior division is such more insular than how the heavyweight division is. So it's not that uncommon for guys that are contending for the junior titles to also contend for the singles belt simultaneously.
Right.
It's not like a disqualifier that the way it could be if you're Yuto Ice and it's like, you're a junior guy, you're not gonna, or a tag guy, you're not gonna fight for the title right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it necessarily is a disqualifier or an enabler is what I'm trying to get to when it comes to these juniors, as far as how they might do in the tournament. All the same, Robbie X and Ishimori, they've defended this once?
Well,
successfully or
yeah,
not?
That's right. Yeah, they defended against Akira and Jacob Austin Young. Yeah.
But Sweet Boys have held the titles multiple times. They've done a lot of like flip flopping and changing of titles with these belts. My guts kind of tell me I think Unbound Company retains here.
Oh, interesting. For some reason, because they're flip flopping, I think Sweet Boys are going to get them back. And just from the logic of you put the belt on Vegeta and you can main event with him through the tour. I mean, you can do that anyway, but I think it helps to have like, oh yeah, he's one of the champions, and you stick him into main events during that tour.
I don't necessarily disagree, but if I had to look at who is in this match and who potentially stands a greater shot of winning the tournament, I could use the reverse logic where it's like Fujita's going to be headlining a lot. He doesn't need the junior titles on him, kind of weighing down the believability. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if he's going to win too. Again, I know we could say
potentially
he could still win and be junior tag champion, challenge for both, and maybe you do the junior version of Suji where he's he's a double champion. You have him be the junior champ and junior tag champ.
I mean, Ishimori, Fujita, and Eagles all have a lot of like legitimacy going into the tournament. Robbie X really doesn't. So maybe, I mean, he's been in it before, but he's been an underperformer in terms of like the kayfabe. So maybe keeping the belts on Unbound Company just gives him a little juice. So maybe he gets, a couple more extra points this year instead of, what he's done in the past.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, it could go either way. It's a coin flip here, but I don't know. I'm gonna say
that one's a big time coin flip because you could easily see either team continuing to carry those belts going into May and June.
Right, and it'll make sense and all work out.
Yeah, I'm not married to it, but I am predicting Unbound Company. I just think, I don't know, maybe give the title a little bit of establishment. Yeah, a little stability before they decide to switch them.
Yeah, that makes sense. So heavyweight tag titles. This one's a little bit harder. I mean,
they better not take the belts off. They've had a lot of good opportunities to take the titles off, not KOB. But this would be one of the smallest shows that they could possibly do it. I know it's an established tag team, but it's like, if you're holding off for this long, you might as well wait to like make something of it. And Wrestling Redzone in the middle of April is not it. That's where this is going to be one of those things where if they do that, I'm going to again be questioning like, what the fuck is Gedo doing?
Yeah.
Have we lost the plot?
Yeah. I think Knockout Brothers should probably retain. I guess my only small caveat with them retaining is like, well, damn, who do they go after next? Who's next? Like if they beat Bishamon, it's like, if Bishamon can't beat them, then who can? Like,
right. No. And that's something we have talked about is them cleaning out the division. How long can this potentially last? But all the same, if you're going to do it, this is not the time to do it. Not on this show after this long.
Right. Yeah.
No matter how good or how established the team is.
Yeah. I think probably the best for business route is going with Knockout Brothers. But again, you never know if Gedo, and this could be like the weird, Tanahashi
shit.
Yeah, the Tanahashi Jam moment of this year. Last year, Zach winning the belt on a non-televised show. So this could be that moment this year where, yeah, you have Knockout Brothers lose in Red Zone instead of like Dominion.
I don't even look forward to the piles of shit posts that we would get in our Discord channel about what the fuck is wrong with Gedo at this point if he made that decision.
Right.
Because part of me feels like, do I defend this? Do I bury this shit? I'm trying to be positive, about this company, be a good beacon of light. And it's like, but y'all going to do this bullshit? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
Make our job harder.
So I'll go for Knockout Brothers retaining there.
They have to. That's the only call. I'm very rare where I say like, this is the only good decision you could make, but having them lose, no matter who the team is on this stage at this point, it would be superfluous. It would be such a waste of an opportunity to actually make money off of the title switch.
Yeah. And then we'll jump back to Road 2 action. So night 4 of the tour is going to happen in KDI Ishin Hall, Sunday, April 26th. So we got Daiki Nagai versus Taisi Nakahara. Some Yolan action there.
The biggest match of their lives.
Just one. So then Makabe and Yano will team up to take on the Knockout Brothers. So interesting there. Knockout Brothers having a straight up tag team match after the tag title events. Then we'll have Umino, Hanma, and Yo taking on Chase, Kanemaru, and Yujiro. Then Okan, Hanare, and Jacob Austin Young will take on the Goto Revolutionary Army. So again, that they've kind of been doing that. But if for some reason Bishamon ends up as champions, you could have a Hanare and Okan get the win here to get them back in contention.
Let's do it.
Then you have Yasuda, Taguchi, Taichi, and Uemura versus Harley Jackson, Vegeta, Eagles, and Oiwa. Then Aaron Wolf, Wato, Bolton, and Tiger Mask versus Don Fale, Doki, Ren Narita, and Sho. And the main event will be United Empire, Callum Newman, Francesco Akira, Jake Lee, and Zayn J versus Unbound Company, Robbie X, Shingo Takagi, Taiji Shimori, and Yota Tsuji.
I mean, a lot of this card looks very similar to the other cards that we've seen along the way. The only real big difference is going to be what are the wrinkles coming from the fallouts of the successes or losses of the 2 tag title matches, and how is that going to play into the dynamics. But other than that, everything else is looking very, very wash, rinse, and repeat. And this is one of the big shortcomings of this time of the year, where it's like they have these cards in April that are kind of quasi like C-level shows with some big matches, but we get the same stuff on every road to for so long. And they don't have that same, like that unce where like in January, where it was like with Tsuji and Jake Lee, where they're like, we're going to try out like cool and inventive like angles every night and like build a story. They're just like, nah, bro, I'll hold this preview in this, in this rural town. Like, we don't even think anyone's watching this on New Japan World. Meanwhile, me and Jeremy, are having to see what's going on in these little roads.
Yeah. I think the one thing to watch out for these nights also is the stuff with Shingo and Cal Newman. Are they going to try and hot shot and heat it up enough to where if they are doing a street fight?
I don't think so. I personally don't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will like start doing that, but I just get this feeling that was just them riffing and it was not intended, and we're just getting the standard match.
I hope so. I'd rather the standard match than them. Yeah, have to have a plunder match.
Other than that, I mean, really, the Wrestling Redzone's the only thing that's like, you got to tune in for that. The rest of the road twos, it's like, it's even harder for me than usual to be like, yeah, you might want to check these out because it's looking identical.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the action that we'll be reviewing next week. And it looks like we only have one item here in the news.
Yeah. The latest Social Suplex podcast newsletter. It was reported just recently that Hinare has signed a 3-year deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So that's great news. Hopefully they use him the way that he should be used, considering like the shape that this man has gotten himself into. And I guess this is really good news considering how over he got with the U.S. audience recently.
Yeah.
So Tony Khan can't get any ideas and sign this man away and put him in Don Callis' family.
Yeah. So yeah, that is great news. And it's interesting, we're starting to see more of these 3-year contracts roll out. Newman signed one as well. And, that was a criticism we've had on New Japan for a while. It's like, yeah, why don't you do some more long-term contracts so you don't have your guys leaving? And so, yeah, they're finally, I don't know what the pay is looking like, but they're finally doing whatever they need to do to start giving these guys a little bit longer-term contracts. So, yeah, we don't have to worry about Newman jumping for a few years and Hinare here jumping. But like you mentioned, with Newman, he is getting the push with his 3-year deal. Yeah, I would like to see Hinare get the push, and whether that's in singles or tag, I feel like, yeah, he's in phenomenal shape. He works super hard, very intimidating, very hard hitting. He's going to give you 100% every night. He's a guy that, again, he could easily be like a never champion, or, if you get that global belt kind of out of the Tsuji realm, like, he's a guy, like, why not? Like, give him a run as secondary champion.
There's a lot of people in our Discord that would not agree with that take at all. They do not love Hinare for whatever reason, but they're freakazoids, bro, because that man busts his ass and works fucking hard. And he's bro, like one of the only.
That man almost died in the dog pound cage match.
Considering the state physically that he's in, he's one of the last guys that's going to carry over in this new generation that is as hard hitting and like Shinihan, like never style, that still is persisting. Most of the guys that we associate that style with, they're like on their last legs in the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he can fill a very vital role, that Ishii role, that hard-hitting guy that you can always rely on to have a really good match.
I don't know if I'd go as far as Ishii, but
right. I mean, obviously, I don't think. Yeah, Hanare, his output has not been obviously the Ishii level, but I feel like he's a guy that will give you 100%, and it's going to be a hard hitting match. Like you can put him in there with anybody, and it'll be a pretty snug, hard hitting match.
Think about the guys that like have either left recently or are still in the company that we associate most closely with all that. It's like Suzuki, Nagata, Kojima, Ishii, Makabe. How many of those dudes are either retiring or about to retire? And even like a Taichi,
Mm-hmm.
These are guys that are all in their 40s or 50s.
And Goto's kind of been out of that realm.
Goto. Yep. Goto's another one where he didn't debut very much longer after Tanahashi, and Tanahashi just wrapped it up, Mm-hmm. Tanahashi's entire class, like him, Cena, Brock, AJ, they're all fucking, wrapping up at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, who else is going to be one of the like true sluggers in New Japan once Goto's done?
Yeah, it's going to be Hanare. It's going to be Yuto Ice.
Hopefully Aaron Wolf.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up. We don't have any off-topic questions this week, so that'll wrap the show up. So next week we'll be back to review all these Road 2 shows and Wrestling Redzone in Hiroshima. So, you got something?
Nope, I was not going to say anything.
Well, remember, if you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, sign up at patreon.com/KIStrongstyle. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping Strong Style logo. Make sure you connect with us on social media on X Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style, at Socialplex, at Jeremy L. Donovan, and at YB_Josh and Liger on Facebook. Follow us at Facebook.com/socialsuplex. On Reddit, on the Pull Black Guy, just Keeping Strong Style. On YouTube, we are at Social Suplex. You can join our Social Suplex Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. And you can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com. And check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio for China and James Boyd. All things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps, AEW Adventure. Wrestling Art with Chris Slings. The AEW Match Guide with Sam Brown. Tunnel Talk with Ali and Leah. The Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast, and Joshying Around with Tim and Eric. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. And we will catch you next week on Keeping a Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
It's Shaban.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.